Beautiful. Hello, everyone out there in the internet world. I am Suara, and I'm so happy today to have this conversation with Kurt. Kurt is a channel, a medium, and a healer. He is a natural intuitive and has been his entire life. And Kurt is here with us today talking about his experience in channeling and connecting in with the guides. Welcome, Kurt.
Hi, Suara. It's nice to be here.
Thank you so much for your presence here. So you have been a channel and a medium, healer, speaking with your guides your entire life, pretty much, since you were little, when you were first aware of it. Can you tell us about your experience? What is it like for you to connect in, get information? They talk about the clair senses, clairvoyance, clairseeing, clairaudience, clear hearing, clairsentience, clear feeling. How do you receive information and how do you connect in?
I receive information in all the clairs. Um, I don't, I do not go seeking to check in to see what information is there. Um, I'm just always connected. So it's, you know, not much effort on my part to do anything. I just have my ears open, basically.
Mhm.
So, or my mind open. So I get visualizations in my mind. I hear words. I feel in my heart. I have a knowing. Just all the above.
Mhm.
And what is it like? I don't ever feel necessarily alone or lonely um, because I always have. It seems like I always have a conversation going on in my head, some about something. But it's just when you quiet your mind down and you're wondering about things and wanting the correct decision about things and opening to that, you get a good sense of what feels right
Yeah.
or knowing of what's right. It's not like someone grabs a hold of you and shakes you real hard and says, "This is what you're going to do."
Yeah.
Um, it can be forceful at times, but typically it's real subtle. So when I get really connected and in the zone, it'll feel like there's a lot of pressure on my shoulders, pushing me down into the chair.
Mhm.
And when that's going on, I know that my guides have something to tell me that's important, and I need to just kind of relax and breathe into it and focus on what information comes.
Mhm. Beautiful. So I love that you receive in all of the clairs. When you receive in the clairs, does it feel almost like it's something from the outside coming in, like an image coming in to your mind's eye, or like a feeling coming into your heart? Is it something that comes from the outside in, or is it something that just sort of bubbles up from inside of you?
No, it does come from the outside in. Um, you can have your own thoughts and your own visions in your mind, and you know when you're doing that because you are specifically thinking about something, and it feels like it's coming from your mind.
Mhm.
But typically, to me, it feels like it comes from above.
Mhm.
Is usually the energy that it feels like. And so the visions or feelings usually feel like it's coming externally from above.
Okay, beautiful. And when it comes in from above, where is your consciousness? Where is your mind? Sometimes I've heard of channels sort of taking their own consciousness and putting it in the back seat or something, or like putting it to sleep or something like that. Do you experience something similar?
I don't typically do that
Okay.
because I'm always analyzing what's being said. So I can get in my way
Yeah.
of the message
Yeah.
because I'm uh, thinking about what's being said. Um, Typically, I suppose if I go in a little deeper, if somebody wants to ask me questions, then I don't have much memory or recollection of really what I'm saying. So probably that time, my mind is off and
Mm.
things are just happening. But typically, my you know normal day is I get information. I'm thinking about it. I'm analyzing it, using it to do whatever I'm doing. But yeah, that's kind of how it works.
Yeah. Yeah. And where do you think it's coming from? When it comes from the outside in and it kind of comes from above in.
Um,
Who are you talking to?
if when I was younger and I didn't know, all sorts of entities would talk to me. So now that I know, really concentrate and ask on just my guides or angels or beings from of the light,
Mhm.
um, of God, if you will,
Yeah.
of the source. Um, so I concentrate more on that. I do have people that have passed away come through and talk to me as well. So I'm open to that. I don't open myself to everything though,
Mhm.
because there are lots of other things out there that will communicate with you and deceive you. So
Mhm. Mhm. And so when these entities are sort of communicating with you, reaching out to you, how do you know the difference between those that are from God and from the light, and then maybe not?
well, that is that's a little difficult. In fact, I get fooled every now and then.
Mhm.
But if you banter back and forth with your guides, you get a feel for how they talk, who they are, and a feeling for them. So it's kind of like when you think of your mom, you feel that your mom's presence or what she's like. You feel that, or your dad, you feel how they are, or your son or your daughter, your people you know. They all feel different. That's how you distinguish them, not just by name, but they're called by name, and you immediately know, oh yeah, that's what you're talking about. You can get a visual, but you also get a feeling of how that person is.
Yeah.
So, uh, in people that have passed away, when if there's somebody that you know, you get that feeling, and then you can hear what they're saying or feel what they're saying. When they're your guides, the same way, but you can have the other entities mimic those feelings too. So, but they can't, they watch, but they can't mimic 100% on what is being said in the information.
Mm.
So, and I think it's kind of a natural thing that your body will do is you start realizing something's off a little bit.
Mm.
Um, and maybe frustration or being upset starts to build inside of you. And the information that you're getting isn't positive or correct.
Mm.
It leads more to more frustration or building that. And then you can kind of get a sense of uh, this is not such a good thing to be communicating with.
Yeah, yeah. Wow, that's really great. That's great information and good to know for all of us to figure out the difference and just tap into our bodies and feel for that, for the signs and signals.
And I just want to say it is not easy
Yeah,
to figure out and differentiate between.
yeah, I'm sure.
Um, I had an experience here a couple months back that I was communicating with something that was deceiving me, and that went on for probably close to probably an hour before I kind of got figured out that that's not who it is betraying to
Mm.
be. So then I have to do a bunch of clearing and think about the light
Yeah,
and bring that in. And for me, I used to think of, and I used to just recently, I changed my mind how I think about the light and protecting myself. I used to think of like a nuclear bomb going off in the bright light,
yeah,
and then an upside down mushroom basically, and that's all just bright light. But what I found that even though that goes off, things can hide in the shadows, behind rocks, behind trees, if they're. So now I think of more like a meteor storm that's pummeling the ground around me from all directions, and they're balls of light
yeah.
that hit and explode. So it leaves no crevices to hide in.
Yeah. Wow, Kurt, yeah, you're really serious about getting in that light. That's great. So there's no
I
place,
have to be
yeah,
because
the
I'm,
level you're talking about here. Yeah,
yeah. So whenever you're down or things are, not quite right, just shower yourself with light.
beautiful.
That's kind of my point.
Yeah, yeah,
And that helps with communication with the correct beings because the incorrect ones cannot stand in the light.
yeah, yeah. So when you mentioned that sometimes you speak with people who have passed, when spirits like that, they come in and they have a message to share, how do you tell the difference between like a guide versus someone who has come in who's passed from a human form to now spirit form?
Yeah, that is I cannot tell you for sure how I distinguish the difference.
Okay, you just know.
Um, it's kind of annoying, but there are kind of different levels, if you will, of beings that you communicate with. So you know, and I don't know if I'm not trying to say that you got this level, this level, this level, but there's different. So people that have passed away are in a group of their own.
Mhm.
The guides that we have are in a group of their own. The angels that we have are in a group of their own. They're not guides. I don't think should be confused with angels. They could be. You know, most people say, "Oh, I have a guardian angel,"
Mhm.
which more likely is a guide. The angels do help us and guard us, but they're not necessarily with us 24/7 like our guides are. And um, how to distinguish who you're talking to. I'm going to say people that have passed talk more like what you're used to talking to with other people. Your guides are like that, but a little more in depth. They're shorter, more direct. Um, they can be like people. They have sense of humor and so forth, but there's just some subtle differences that way. And I believe angels are more um, even more direct yet.
Hmm.
Um, I don't think they like to banter back and forth as much.
Mhm.
Uh, it's just more, I don't know. It's, I don't know how to describe it.
Yeah.
A lot of times I get images in my head of who I'm speaking to. So it doesn't mean that when my guides are speaking that I see their faces. I just have images of my guides, that presence, that feeling. And angels are just uh, I it's hard to put into words. I don't know how I need to think about it some.
Yeah, yeah. It sounds like with an angel's directness, it's like, hey, I'm busy. I've got a lot of people to cover here. I'm gonna give you the straightforward message, and here we go.
And I didn't want to come across and say it that way, but yeah, that is. They're like, okay, what do you need? Quick, okay, I got to move on
Yeah,
because
yeah,
there's no reason to talk and banter back and forth. I've got lots of things to do. But the thing is the time is different. So it's not like they don't have all
right,
this time to spend with you, but
right.
their mindset is different.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's kind of like that.
It's like making all the communication really potent, really powerful, and very direct. Yeah, beautiful. Um, So, when you're communicating, I love the imagery, you know, the idea that people who have passed, they kind of talk like us. You mentioned that the guides, they can have a sense of humor as well. That's also my experience that some guides are actually really funny. I've met, you know, guides that have been this one woman, she was even kind of like sassy or something. She just had a lot of flavor to her. She was one of these women that you can just imagine snapping or something, and really had a huge personality. So I love that you tapped on that a little bit here. I have experienced that as well. Um, and so you also mentioned that sometimes you've had experiences with communicating with the other side where it was a little bit forceful. What did you mean by that?
Oh, if if somebody that's passed really wants to get my attention, and I don't know if some have a stronger ability to do things or not. I don't really know. Some, and I don't know. I wouldn't say that I walk around with myself open and say, okay, come jump on me, come talk to me. I don't do that.
Right.
I go about my own business. Um, but sometimes uh, when somebody's passed really has something to say, um, they can be very forceful. I know when I'm being looked at. I know when I'm being watched. It's just everybody has that sense. They look over their shoulder because
Yeah.
they think somebody's looking at them. It's kind of like that. And then I'll start getting dizzy, getting pressure put on me. And I know that somebody, you know, either my guides want to talk to me, but I know the difference. So I know that somebody wants to talk to me. I can get pulled in a direction, like the feeling of a magnet, how it pulls. You don't really can't feel that energy other than it pulls together or pushes away. So I will get that sensation in my body of being pulled or repelled. Um, if I'm being repelled, typically I stay away. But if there's more than one, and I'll give an example where there were three people that wanted to. One of them was kind of the leader, and he did not want me there, but the other two did. So I was getting this constant push and pull back and forth, and really dizzy, and a bunch of weight on me. And when I entered the building, then the first one settled down into me, and I was experiencing uh, his last moments of life.
Oh, wow.
Um, and I can stay there, and I end up kind of talking like they do, and sounding like they do, and explaining what what goes on. So the younger guy, he passed away there, so I kind of lived that experience, and I don't care to do it because it's like it's my memory, so it's like I did go through it, so I don't look for this thing, but type of deal. But anyway, it kind of opened my eyes to some things, and they just wanted help. They wanted uh, they wanted to make sure that this machinery didn't run again, and somebody else die in it. This kind of energy.
Oh,
So I just did the best I could and let them know that, hey, it's not going anymore. It's not going to, and you can move on to the light. So I did that with the first two, and then finally, it's exhausting. But I felt such a pull to do it. Um, and when the last one, the strongest one, he that was repelling me, he decided, oh no, I want you to come now. So it was kind of like a little kid when you're taking them to the
that's good.
fair and they got a hold of your hand and they're leading you along, pulling you away. It was just like that.
Wow.
And then when I entered the building, he entered me, and I just started explaining um, uh, to the gal that was showing me around or helping me move around. I was explaining to her how this machinery worked, and I've never worked on this type of stuff. So to have the knowledge spewing out of my mouth wasn't, I don't know what I was saying.
Right. Wow, that's
So,
amazing. Yeah.
and my wife was there, and she was watching, and she was, asking me why I'm walking in that demeanor, and said I had an accent. And so anyway, he died of a heart attack. And when I was at that spot where he had a heart attack, he showed me, and I was slumped over the handrail, and my chest was hurting really bad, and I learned at that time, and I wished I'd learned years ago, that I can say enough. Because when I was younger, I didn't know. I just had to deal with the experience. So I was able to let it go as far as I wanted to. It's okay. That's enough. I understand. And again, when we're all done, when he was done talking, and he just wanted to share and spread his legacy. He didn't want it to end. It was just something that he enjoyed so much in life,
Yeah.
and he just wanted to show that. So as 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 he's guiding me, or he's in my body and walking it through everywhere, this machinery, a lot of it was removed and stuff, but in his realm where he's at, it's all still working, and he sees it working and moving still. The components that are gone, he's explaining where they're at and what they're doing, and there's nothing there, and
Wow.
how it all ties in. And when I brought to his attention that was then, this is now, it was interesting because now he could see that things were missing. So I don't understand exactly how that all works, but that's a very profound experience when another being steps into your body and starts narrating what's going on. That, again, I don't seek that kind of stuff out. It's very exhausting,
I can imagine.
but the for some reason there was some calling for me to be there. So at the end of talking with each being, I just told them that they don't have to be here anymore. They don't have to stay. All they got to do is come outside and go to the light.
Yeah.
So that's how I ended that session with them. So I have had experiences through my life where I have touched an object or something, and then immediately uh, somebody has passed that is involved with that object is immediately there. So I have touched guns, that World War II gun that I touched, and immediately the person that had owned it was there. And his biggest thing is he didn't ever want it used again. So as soon as I touched it, I was immediately in the trenches, in the spot. So very vivid, and but he stayed with me till I finally understood what he was after, and I promised him that he can go, and I will make sure that this doesn't ever get used again.
Yeah.
So it is interesting, but again, it's something I don't seek, and it's something I wouldn't suggest people seek either. You
Yeah.
don't know what might be trying to enter you or what's going on. So
Yeah.
trying to always stay in the mindset of the light uh, protects you. So, but
Wow, what amazing experiences you've had. And thank you for the message of staying in the light. I do think that that is really important to remember in all of this. And so, it sounds to me that you get more visitation than maybe the average bear does. And why do you think that is? What is it that these spirits are coming to you? Is it, is it to get to that level of completion, to be acknowledged for those things that they're being concerned about, and then it sounds like you helped people to then go to the light. Is that the reason? Is that the purpose for
I
these?
believe that you're spot on with what you're saying. You know, younger, I didn't have a clue. To me, the vision that come into my mind would be in the darkness. There's a bright light, and if you're in the darkness and you see a bright light, what are you going to do? Are you going to run away from it, or are you going to be curious and you're going to go to it? So for some reason, I've always been a beacon of bright light, I guess, um, that attracts. So, and I haven't always known this. I've just kind of put this together. And if I am a beacon to draw people or souls, and I can help them move on, then that's what I do. So when I get the feeling, then that's what I talk about, either out loud or in my mind or to them, that you don't have to be here anymore, um, and seek the light. And so yeah, and I don't know any different. So I don't know if I get more than the average person or not. I wouldn't know that
Mhm.
because I haven't really spoke with a lot of people till just the last couple of years about this.
Yeah.
So, um, but yeah, I think that it's important, and all of us has a role in that, finding the light and helping each other go to the light.
Yeah.
So, and that's what I do a lot when I, whenever I'm contacted, or that's my mental thought process is helping to move to the light. And if you get something that's resisting that, it's pretty obvious that that's not of the light. So
Yeah. Mhm. Oh, okay. Yeah, that would be a good indicator right there.
it's a big, yes.
Yeah. Yeah. Because I wonder if maybe do we all, get visitations, but then maybe we're just not aware of it. And like you said, you are a beacon of light, and so they're attracted to you. But I wonder if that happens to other people too, but we're just less aware of it. It's just something to think about. It kind of the question kind of popped up. While we're
I
talking.
think that we do. I think everybody does. I think everybody has the, awareness and insight. They just chalk it up as to being something else.
Yeah.
And, you know, for some people, it's not necessarily their gig on earth to be doing that,
Sure.
you know, but they still have that communication, but it doesn't mean as much to them, and they don't have as much pressure put on them. The constant, hey, I want you to do this. Hey, I want you to do this. For me, I've tried to turn it off and ignore it, but it just gets more forceful. So I can't, and I
Mm,
don't anymore, and it's easier.
mm,
But it's like I said, it's not everybody's thing. It's not something you go out seeking to do. It's just something that if you're supposed to do it, you'll know it'll come. It starts happening. But yeah, it's everybody can help and do their part of that for sure.
beautiful, beautiful. Um, yeah, I'm just so blown away by your experience of all of this. When you reach that point in a conversation with one of these spirits and you're saying, it's okay now. I acknowledge what you're going through. I hear you. And now it's okay for you to go to the light. Do they go to the light in your experience? Just
In my experience, it is their choice.
mm,
And in my experience, they have to want to. If they don't want to, they won't.
yeah.
But in my most profound experiences, when I take them outside, um, and for some reason, I feel the light is towards the west. I don't know if that's correct or not. I just feel that it's up and towards the west.
Wow.
And I don't tell them to go look that way. I just take them outside. If they're outside, then I just tell them to go to the light, go to the bright light.
Yeah.
We have a sun, it's bright, but the bright light is much brighter than the sun. Go there. So uh, in that building, I took them outside. You can follow me outside and go to the light. And they did. And you feel just like if somebody's following you, when you're being followed, if your kids are behind you following you or whatever, and that's what I feel. And then I feel just a lightness and lifting. And I have felt that when I experienced a friend dying, and he died. It was a violent death, and I didn't have a lot of time to say a lot of words to him. But when I was done, I just felt the the energy, the presence just lift and go. So it's kind of this. It's the same feeling. It's the same thing. And I don't know if everybody feels that or not. Since I do, I assume everybody else must. But most of my life, since I've felt things and seen things, I assume everybody else is, but they're not. So can they? Yes, they can
Yeah.
if they want to be open and feel that. But that is what it's like for me.
Yeah. Wow, that's powerful. Yeah, you're probably right that most people don't feel. Maybe we all choose not to feel those things, but the fact that it is there and you're having this experience sort of as represent as a representative of so many of us, and that we can be connected into all of these levels. That's an interesting idea, you know. I wonder what it would be like if we did. But I also feel, as a part of that conversation, that you're sort of acting in service on behalf of all of us, that you do this work. So, you know, deep gratitude. That could be my mother, father, grandmother that you're talking to. So, you know, so much gratitude for that service of helping these spirits find the light. It's wonderful, or just acknowledging whatever that message is that they have in that moment. Um, wow, powerful, powerful stuff.
I
So,
wish that I understood this stuff earlier on in life,
yeah,
because I do like to help. I don't feel like it's a service or something I provide, or or that it's even just up to me. I just when just like in life, when somebody comes to you and asks you for help, hey, can you help? Reach that or pick this up for me. It's the same thing. Yeah, I'll drop what I'm doing and help you. That's the way I am.
yeah,
So this is just a different level because it's more subtle in some ways, because I can hear it that way.
yeah,
So, but yeah, I wish that like I said, I wish I knew more when I was younger, because I think I could have helped more. Now I think back on experiences and think, gosh, that's what was going on. I wasn't able to do anything because I was afraid, and I had to run because things like that.
yeah,
But now, since I know, I stick with it, and I try to listen. I'm compassionate, and I care. And then in the end, they have a choice. They can stay, or if they didn't realize they can go to the light, then I'm presenting that choice as well. I'm not the light. I might be. I don't know what I look like in that realm. I don't know how bright I am, but if I'm bright enough to get your attention, that's great. But now look for the source, and go there. Don't stick with me. So, and they don't stay with me and follow me around necessarily. They either stay where they're at doing what they were used to, or they move on to the light. So far, I have not had anyone stay where they're at. Even the one guy that was really against me at first, I feel that he moved on as well. So,
mm,
and this is a place that people would go, and the ghost hunters would go and take their measuring devices and get all this stuff. they might find that nothing goes on there now. And I'm sorry that, maybe I ruined that for them. That wasn't what I was trying to do.
Yeah. Yeah.
But
Uh,
I haven't gone back since
yeah.
to feel what I can feel. Maybe I will, but I feel in my heart what went on. So, uh, can I reach out and talk to those beings right now? Yes. Do I? No. I will subtly, and I just did, so I have answers. But anyway, I don't contact people that have passed like that. I
Yeah.
don't do that.
So you are being you every day, and then they come around and sort of like knock on the door, if they happen to come by you, and then you answer.
It would be nice if sometimes it was a little, yeah, subtle, like a knock on the door. It's not always like that. Sometimes they blast in and you simply have to deal with it.
I see, I see. Okay, so it is a little bit, yeah, it can be jarring, I imagine. Um,
Yes, for sure.
so,
And like I said, it is very frightful sometimes because
mm,
if you don't know what I know now, so I don't have that trouble now, but as a kid and young adult, yeah, overwhelming.
yeah, I'm sure. Um, so for folks who maybe recently had somebody pass and they might be feeling, something, experiencing something, or maybe they're just like, in their bed at night talking, out loud. Um, does this connection reach those spirits?
It does, and it does before you even start talking about it,
Oh, really?
because they know your feelings. They're just with us. Um, there's always a part that is connected with us. So upon um, a loved one passing, it is hard to hear them because you're dealing with your own grief, this worldly stuff, emotions and feelings. So it's can sometimes be virtually impossible to get in a state where you can communicate and listen very well
Mhm.
because of that. So as time goes by, then you can look back and see that. But yeah, they don't just leave us, and they're with us all the time.
Yeah. Even if they've gone to the light, they are
Mhm.
still with us. Yeah.
Yes, there's a part that is they can come in stronger, but they're so I don't really know how to explain it, other than the depth of the feeling that I get, and it's a for me, I see distance with the strength of the feeling. So the stronger it is, the closer they are, the less distance they are. Um, and and that's not the best way to describe it, but it's the best way to describe it for our understanding of
Mhm.
things on Earth.
Mhm. Mhm.
I wish I had a better way because I've bantered back and forth myself trying to understand it better. But that's just the best. You don't have to have that full understanding anyway of how it all works. I do for some reason, but that's kind of how it is. They are with us. They have they can be and do a multitude of things in that realm. So a piece of them can be with us while they're busy doing other things. So and if we need their full attention, we can get it.
Mhm.
But even though I may know what I know, it doesn't make it any easier when somebody passes.
Mhm.
I still suffer the same things. Um, But as I get my head on straight and I understand and know how things work, then I'm good with it again. But then, emotions come back. So I'm human too. I teeter back and forth and fight with it, struggle with it.
Yeah,
But
this is the human experience.
yeah,
Yeah, powerful. Whew. And so for folks out there who, maybe they have had somebody just pass, is there some little bit of advice or something that you can give them during this time when we are in grief? What do you do? What would you advise to someone? And you have such a unique perspective because from your vantage point, you can experience that human side of it, but also have such deep understanding of what's happening just beyond the veil as well. So, from your perspective and your connection to the guides, what would you tell somebody who's in that position right now?
While we're here, it's important to feel
Mhm.
um, the emotions, to feel the pain, to feel the sorrows, to feel the joy and the happiness as well. It's easy to enjoy the happiness and embrace happiness, and that's what we look for, and that's great. But there's also things to be learned and had in the sorrow and the grief as well. Um, and it's important that we allow ourselves to experience those negatives, if you will, the grief, the sorrow, the loss, the pain. It is important, but we cannot get lost in that,
Yeah.
meaning that it destroys our lives as well.
Yeah.
Um, it affects our lives to the point where we can't live anymore. But so you have to, in the worst of grief, you still, I think it's okay to fall to the depths of the grief, but then you have to start climbing back out. And, I can't put a timeline on it. So does that mean that you go into the deep grief for years and years? I don't think that's healthy. I don't think that's good. So do you do it for one day or 1 month? I can't put a time on it. It's all individual. And when it's time that you start pulling yourself back out. Um, but it is important to experience those experiences. Um, why? That would be the next question. I can't tell you exactly why. It has a bigger purpose and bigger meaning. Um, and I can talk about love and compassion. Um, and with experiencing loss and so forth, parts of that has to do with love and compassion. If you had no compassion and love for this person, this loss, you wouldn't experience loss. You wouldn't experience the sorrow and the grief. You wouldn't have that. So it all ties in together, and it does build more compassion towards other people and other beings.
Mhm.
Um, so there is a bigger picture, but we have to, be able to get over our own sorrow before we can start having that deep understanding and having compassion and helping others and supporting others in that way. But does it make it any easier for me to know that my loved ones have gone to the light? I'll see them again. It's easy words to say.
Mhm.
Now put yourself in the feeling of that. Can I do it all the time? No, I can't.
Yeah.
Yet
Yeah.
I communicate with people that have passed all the time. So I know that it's true, uh, that it's okay.
Yeah.
But the feeling in the heart while we're here, it doesn't feel okay.
Yeah.
And I don't know how to make it feel okay. So I have to assume that it's not supposed to, and it drives us to a higher level of understanding.
Wow.
I don't know if that answers your question real well or not.
Yeah, it does, and you touched on some very profound ideas of purpose and compassion, but also the complexity of being human and going through these experiences and being in that separation, feeling lost. But there's that idea of hope and love and compassion with one another that's there as well. There's no clean, easy answer. It's not the end of a Disney movie with a happy ending for everybody, but I guess it is part of that complexity, and all the layers of it that is part of this human experience, and we're going through that. We're exploring that.
You
Um,
know, life does happen, and it isn't all happy, and it isn't all good, and it doesn't all end like you say, like a fairy tale. It doesn't. It isn't like that. When we're younger, we're taught that it is, and bad things don't happen, but they do. Um, and I don't know when you start teaching a child that bad things do happen and it's okay. I don't know when,
yeah,
because I was always told that bad things didn't. I was always sheltered from that, but I always experienced bad things happening. So it was always confusing for
yeah,
me. You say, mom and dad says this, but this happened. So, um, yeah, I don't, that's why I'm blunt and say, yeah, life for some people and for all of us at points in time is not happy and not good,
yeah,
for sure.
yeah,
But you'll find that when difficulty comes, you find that it seems like you once you master that difficulty, it's like you level up a step or two faster, and you have more insight on things, you're more understanding, you learn more, you evolve more. It seems like if you have nothing but happy experiences happening to you all the time, it doesn't seem to push you to the point where when things are uh, negatively impacting you or happening. So, are these things negative? For sure. Well, if it's causing you to grow and become a better person, you can look at it that no, it's not negative, it's positive, but it sure hurts
Yep.
to get there sometimes.
Yeah.
So, one phrase that helped my wife out with her loss, and she'd be down. I would just say, I'd love to. For me, inside, I'm thinking, I want to help. I want to do so much, but then I can't do anything other than say, have you talked to God
Mm.
today? Have you talked to God lately? Have you, And that seemed to resonate with her, and that seemed to help her. And she'd get down and she'd think of that and rebound a little bit and back and forth. So, thinking of source and thinking of correctness and good and bringing that light in upon yourself is what helps pull you from the the dark depression and staying down in sorrow and grief. Doesn't mean you won't bounce back and forth,
Yeah.
but that's how you pull yourself back.
Yeah. I love that. That's so powerful. It's very simple. It's beautiful. And it kind of rises above. Look above and have you talk to source, to God.
Yeah, the the burden that we seem to put on ourselves down here on earth, thinking that we need to take it all on and do everything, and yeah, even the small stuff, going out and finding that job, it's all up to me, it's me, me, me. Releasing that burden to to source is where it needs to go, and
Yeah.
asking for help in a easier road, or is this correct? And if you're fighting it too much, it may not be correct. So just being aware and listening helps a lot.
Yeah. Wow. Well, thank you so much for these perspectives. They're very mature perspectives, spiritually advanced, spiritually mature perspectives. The idea that, when we go through bad things or negative moments, to add on top of it a layer of judgment of like, this isn't supposed to happen and this is bad that I'm going through this, seems to just make it, solidify it even more and keep it in place. But then instead to not do that, to remember to rise above and to ask God, to release it to God, to source. It's a powerful message. Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know how else to deal with things when they get real bad.
Yeah.
So that's kind of what I've come up with. So,
Beautiful.
and
Well,
you can hear voices in your head all you want, and it still doesn't necessarily help. So, till you internally give.
yeah. Beautiful. Beautiful. Well, I think this is a really great place to conclude this conversation and let that very deep and powerful message just sit in people's hearts and not lose that moment. Thank you so much, Kurt, for having this conversation with us today. It was so amazing, so powerful. Thanks for sharing your experience.
Well, thank you. I help or hope that it helps.
Definitely, definitely. And I'll see you next time. Thank
Okay.
you to the audience out there. Please remember to watch out for these videos, subscribe, get notifications, all of that. And we will see you next time around with Conversations with Kurt. Bye bye. See another inspiring interview with Kurt or discover more at akashicrecords.com. Unlock your true potential today.